first responders and JBLM soldiers who jumped into action and risked their lives to save others.
We are so grateful for those that selflessly jumped out of their cars and helped, because that's what you do.
Senator Jan Angel and other lawmakers call them true heroes. 3 people were killed and dozens were injured when the train careened off the tracks and landed on I-5 last month. The Closing Bell Report is brought to you by Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Supermarket retailer Kroger is looking to compete with Amazon's new high-tech cashierless market. The company, which owns QFC and Fred Meyer stores, just announced its new technology called Scan Bag Go, which is similar to the Amazon Go store. Customers are going to be able to use the app on their phones to scan and bag products as they shop. The scanner will keep a running total of the items placed in the basket and display coupons and store specials. On Wall Street today, the Dow gained 53 points, closing at 26,071. NASDAQ is up by 9, S&P 500 up by 12. Kenny Klein has your Khmer Radio real-time traffic update.
And the roads actually look really great right now. No major accidents seen on the freeways, no stalled vehicles, barely any congestion, just some light traffic seen on the east side on either direction of 405 right around Northeast 44th. That's it. We had an earlier crash around Buckley that's already cleared, it looks like, from Highway 410 near Mundy Lost Road. If you're headed into the mountain passes right now, no restrictions over Snoqualmie. The traction tires are advised over Stevens and White Pass. Khmer Radio real-time traffic. I'm Kimmy Klein.
Our traffic is brought to you by Michael's Toyota, Volkswagen, and Subaru of Bellevue. 3 amazing brands, 1 local family, all in a single, easy-to-reach location right off I-90 at Eastgate.
After seeing some scattered showers today, you should still see a few more for the drive home. Not very many unless you're south or north of Seattle. And then we'll be in the 40s. Tomorrow, rain moves in and we see it pretty much all day. I'm Cairo 7, pinpoint meteorologist Dick Allen.
It is 46 degrees outside the Carter Subaru Studios. I'm Ursula Boyteen. This is Khmer Radio News 97.3 FM.
Well, as we've been telling you the past few days, we are for the first time starting to get a glimpse of what the NTSB has learned in their investigation of the deadly Amtrak train crash. Let's start right one more time. Well, as I've been telling you the last few days, we are for the first time starting to get a glimpse of what the NTSB is learning in its investigation of that deadly Amtrak train crash right before Christmas. And some of it is absolutely shocking to me. Let me welcome in John Hyatt, who is an expert in this area and is also an investigator working for the Bramstep law firm back in Minnesota. John, good to talk to you. I appreciate your time this afternoon.
Sure, thanks for having me.
As I said, I am rather shocked at some of the details that are coming out of this NTSB investigation. Can you fill my listeners in on what we now know is public record of what went down that day?
Well, again, there's a lot of preliminary information, and what the NTSB has released is basically excerpts out of the people's statements. So it's still a little hard to discern what, to fill in the blanks, but it does appear from, they had 12 people off the record that were telling them that, and these were employees, that they did not have a lot of confidence in the training methods that were used and that it was done rather hurriedly. And that's all going to come out in the NTSB investigation. It'll also come out some of the firms like ours that are representing some of the people on board. It's going to be some of the first questions we ask.
The thing that just shocked me, John, was from the engineer's interview where he said he saw the milepost markers at 16 and 17. He knew he had to slow down to 30 miles an hour by milepost 19.8. And he said, well, I didn't see the milepost 18 or 19 markers. And I would think if you're an experienced engineer, you have a clock in your head. If you're going 80 miles an hour at milepost 16, 17, and you know you have to be slowed down to 30 by 19.8, wouldn't you have a clock in your head without having seen those mileposts that he says he missed?
Well, for one thing, the equipment that we work on, or that they were working on, it slows down extremely well and extremely quickly. And so in all reality, a mile and a half away from that site might be where a lot of people would start applying their brakes. But in this particular instance, again, we're taking bits and pieces out of his statement. I would like to see his whole statement, but it just really appears that he lost track of where he was at. And in the industry, it's called situational awareness. And it's like anything else. If you've never been on this track in the daytime, which apparently he never had been, and by the NTSB report indicates that he had only actually worked the train in that direction under those circumstances one time. That's not enough. And if that is in fact true, then you're putting a lot of people's lives in the hands of one individual, because the conductor had no idea where he was at, of this one individual who has to make these decisions. And on an inaugural run, I just don't understand why there wasn't a supervisor on board on the locomotive, and a lot of questions that are unanswered, and that's what we're going to be doing in the next several weeks, is trying to get those answers.
Do we know how many people were in the engine car at the time of the crash?
At the time of the crash, it appears in the lead locomotive there was two people, the conductor trainee and the engineer.
Okay, that was it. Okay, and I want to get to the lack of training, and that's a systemic problem, it sounds, with Amtrak. But is that also a damning indictment of this particular engineer? When you talk about situational awareness, John, I would think that when lives are in your hands, that awareness is of premium importance, quite clearly. And is this an indictment of that individual?
You know, I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. Having been in his seat and in his shoes, working on this track one time in the dark, and then when you arrive to work that morning, here it is, the inaugural run. Everybody's pretty jazzed up. This guy was a railroad enthusiast. He loved his job, loved everything about railroading. He gets there, and this train's already running late. And, you know, I think if he thought he needed a supervisor, certainly he had that ability to say so. But this goes back to what I think is the real root of the problem, is if in fact these employees did feel like they were undertrained and tried to reach out, or some of them were afraid to reach out, because, you know, you hear this whistleblower law in a lot of industries, and there's one in the railroad industry also, and it empowers these employees to step up and say if there's something unsafe that the railroad is asking them to do. It empowers them, theoretically, to say, no, I'm not going to do it, it's unsafe. Well, number one, it's only theoretically, because the law has been diminished to the point where these guys don't feel they have that protection anymore. And so you will, in fact, be targeted if, in fact, you cause some kind of problem, if you report certain things that they don't want reported. And that's unfortunate. And that's throughout the railroad industry that's happening, not just Amtrak.
Well, go ahead. Okay, well, I was just going to say, Amtrak as an agency, it certainly sounds like they did not have proper training for these guys. So that's where you lay the bulk of your blame.
And this is so early on, like I said. I mean, you know, we had a guy working on a locomotive that he had never been on before. So you're changing the whole outlook that he is sitting in of this cab, all the controls and everything else. So again, maybe a distraction, maybe a source of distraction. Also, these locomotives at this point, there have been several reports that they were having problems interfacing these locomotives with the existing locomotive, which means that, you know, there's a locomotive on each end, and one is sending a signal to the other for braking and for throttle and all those things. It may not have been responding. There may have been a number of things, but it is very clear that this engineer did not know where he was at.
And then in addition to all of that, we obtained a document from the Washington State Department of Transportation, 2013, where it clearly said that you could not safely operate high-speed trains on this until positive train control was implemented. And that's in the DOT's own internal document that we obtained. And clearly, they did not adhere to their own standard either. So we have a couple of agencies, and then Sound Transit being the third agency. You have three agencies, none of which I have a whole lot of faith in.
Yeah, and you know, I'll reserve my opinion of those agencies, but I will tell you this is what happens, is things get lost in the cluster, and things get overlooked, and this is money. This is really what this boils down to, is money. They have the opportunity to remove that curve, or to hyper-elevate that curve, or to eliminate that curve, or reduce that curve. They had a lot of options. But the reason that they didn't take those options, and they had the option of waiting until they had positive train control, but they had a deadline set. December 18th, they were going to run this train come hell or high water. And unfortunately, I think they got a little bit of hell.
Yeah.
They weren't ready, and this is what happens.
deadly consequences. John Hyatt, train accident investigator. John, always appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on with me this afternoon.
You bet. Take care.
All right, we have much more to come as the Dory Monson Show rolls on. If you could have a home in
crown, as one of my assistants calls it, that's dinosaur dentistry. About the only time I do a crown anymore is to replace a crown that's failed. What my experience has taught me is I can't improve.
Here in America, it seems as though most of the anti-attitude, if you're anti-smoking, you're anti-vaping, and you're anti-everything else, and so they don't want people to switch from one to the other. They want them off nicotine altogether. And it's never made sense to me, if just using nicotine alone is not that harmful, then what's the objection to letting people do it?
You know, there's a lot of misinformation out there about this, Lars, as far as what it will do and what it won't do. With some of the new regulations, we are not allowed to tell our customers about the health differences between the smoking and vaping.
You're not?
But
hold on. Why are you don't have Second Amendment or First Amendment rights in America on that?
We can't make claims when we're talking to customers about switching from tobacco to
okay.
vaping.
I'm curious about how they got to that, because I understand that if I'm selling something as a medicine, that you know the government has some control over what you're able to say if you're selling it as a medicine. But you're not selling vape as a medicine, are you?
No, although I have heard suggestions that some people want this to be a prescribed type of system instead, where we would be then totally out of the game and they'd have to get a prescription.
Well, you'd have to get a prescription and go to a pharmacy to buy vapor cigarettes?
I've heard that suggestion. I haven't seen anything on it, but I've heard that suggestion. So now you have another finger in the pie.
I mean, because salt has an effect on your body too. But you can have a discussion about that with your doctor. And God help us if we ever have to go get a prescription to get a pound of salt at the grocery store.
Yeah, I mean, we're restricted on a lot of stuff that we can't say. We can't give them recommendations on nicotine, and every single device is going to deliver a different amount of vapor. So some of them would use very little juice and very little nicotine, and so therefore you could go higher on the nicotine and get the same effect as some of the more advanced devices that are going to deliver a lot more nicotine. Therefore, people are going to use a lower milligram level when they're using that. But yeah, we have a lot.
You're not allowed to tell the customer that?
We cannot recommend the nicotine level.
Okay. Julie, I wish you well. It's House Bill 2165 before the Washington legislature. They're talking about a 60% vape tax that's going to take a lot of money out of your pocket and maybe shut down a big part of the industry. Julie, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Lars. I appreciate it.
You betcha. Back in just a moment. Glad to get your calls at 866-439-5277. Email to talk@larslarson.com.
America's first conservative talk station. The one, the only. Talk Radio 570 KVI.
As we hit the freezing temps here in the Pacific Northwest, you're probably experiencing some cold nights and uncomfortable heat loss. Luckily, there's an easy and cost-effective fix from Richard Herron and his team at Crawl Pros. Lars here. With blow-in attic insulation, Crawl Pros will get you up to code with R49 insulation, saving you thousands of dollars in energy bills in the long run. And while you're up there, Crawl Pros can take care of any suspected rodents that may be damaging your insulation or affecting air quality in your home. Crawl Pros re-insulated our home, got rid of the rodents and the water intrusion. If you're losing heat or suspect rodents, Crawl Pros will take care of you. They'll give you the most thorough evaluation you'll ever receive from a company. We got a book complete with photos of every inch of our job, so we knew what they were fixing and why. They're the real deal with a 5-star rating on Yelp.
Show special. Upgraded cabinet crown molding, gorgeous craftsmanship, and Valley Line Cabinets guarantees to beat any competitor's price by 10% on comparably made cabinets. Just go to valleylinecabinets.com.
Responsibility. It's a big word. Being accountable for doing the right thing. At West Coast Armory North, we're advocates of personal security, responsible security. What does this look like? Creating a family plan and educating your household on the plan. Getting proper training on security topics and self-defense is essential. So if you need help with your personal security journey, making sure you're being as responsible as can be, come visit us. Start now at westcoastarmorynorth.com. A special for Dory's listeners, mention his name when signing up for a class and receive 15% off.
The $9.99 Great Haircut Sale at Great Clips. It's epic. Actually, make my voice more heroic.
Oh yeah. Cue music. The explosions. Yes, my follicles are tingling. The $9.99 Great Haircut Sale is here. Use online check-in for a great haircut that makes you feel great. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
The $9.99 Great Haircut Sale runs January 26th through February 1st.
From life-changing moments across the gaming floor to incomparable hospitality and experiences that last a lifetime, it's Tulalip Resort Casino. Find all the details at TulalipCasino.com.
Don't let that burst pipe give you the blues. When that sink stops up, don't be sad. Call Beacon Plumbing, Heating, and Mechanical. I'm Bobby Wagner. Stop freaking. Call Beacon at 1-800-FREAKIN'.
Trending on Cairo Radio 97.3 FM.
Seattle Public Schools scrambling to prepare for the bus driver strike set for tomorrow.
An Amtrak train carrying members of Congress to a GOP retreat collided with a garbage truck.
Washington Congresswoman Kathy McMorris Rogers, her husband, and their children were also on the train.
President Trump, in his State of the Union address last night,
the era of economic surrender is totally over.
People in America are going to see more in their take-home pay.
Sign up for the Cairo Radio Rundown at mynorthwest.com.
Okay, we were just talking right before the break. So your mom's a school bus driver, Nicole. We were just, I heard the promo about the school bus strike that's coming to Seattle tomorrow. Your mom's a school bus driver.
Yes, she is.
I know a lot of school bus drivers. I would, when I take my basketball team to away games, we'd have school buses. I love the drivers. I was just saying, I went 12 years without ever once riding a school bus.
And you live, you said 2 miles from
2 miles from Ballard High.
So was there a bus available and you just didn't use it?
I just never once took it.
Wow.
It was,
no specific reason?
Well,
like cool
I think early on it was probably because I was way younger than everybody else and I didn't want to. But then when I got to junior high and high school, I just would rather walk.
I didn't have the option to walk. We lived at least 8 miles from school. We lived out in the boonies.
Oh,
I had to ride the bus.
It's weird to me that everyone's freaking out about this bus strike, and I don't know why kids, and I'm really not trying to sound like back in the day, but...
Well, there's a danger aspect to it now, I guess.
Would you let your daughters walk to school?
Not just as kidnapping, but like the cars, the buses, the everything that could...
Yeah, I know, the stranger danger thing, everybody's worried about that, I suppose. My girls, I'm trying to think if they
lived 2 miles from school, like you did growing up, would you have let them walk to school?
Probably not. My girls were on my wife knew where, and I knew where they were pretty much every second of every day until they got to about, junior high, and then you're just trusting that they are where they say they're going to be.
But it's also, where you live, it's a little less
where I
safe
live, we
just
don't have,
based on vision.
Well, we don't have sidewalks where I live, which is another huge deal, too. In Seattle, there are some neighborhoods that don't have sidewalks. Anyway, it was just something I noticed in the promo, and I know that everyone's...
You never rode a bus.
Not one time.
Maybe that's why you have such a... you're so hesitant to ride buses.
No, I rode a bus
days.
every single day when I went to the UW. I had to ride a bus there.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, for elementary, junior high, high school, never quite figured out why I bus everybody everywhere.
You gotta get up earlier to walk 2 miles.
Yeah.
Dedication.
Yeah.
Plus, that bus ride toughens you up in the morning.
Does it?
Oh yeah, that's the intro to Lord of the Flies kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it is bad in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
At night, it's more of or after school in the afternoon, it's more of a popularity contest. But in the morning, it is brutal.
It's kill or be killed on a school bus in the morning.
See, the thing I remember about walking is picking out a rock close to, like a walk home from Ballard High. You pick out a rock, and you see how far you can kick that rock. And you try to get it, you try to keep it on the sidewalk, but you'd have to go off into somebody's yard, and you would just kick a rock. Maybe I had horrible ADD.
Yeah.
That might be.
Something was going on.
Because I never thought I did, and then somebody a couple years ago told me it's clear that I had or have ADD or ADHD.
You're kind of a fidgeter.
I was not diagnosed until 32, and then the whole world made sense.
Seriously?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I went to my doctor, and they had the little form you fill out on a scale of 1 to 5. How often do these things happen? I was writing 7s and 8s. And I was scribbling on the back of the paper, and they're like, yep, you got it.
Wonder if I should ask my doc about that.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, take the test. That'd be good.
What can I get? Adderall?
Yeah.
I get that Adderall?
Yeah.
Because I heard that's good stuff.
No meds.
No
you
meds.
don't need.
No meds.
Dory can go down to 1 hour sleep a night.
And here's how it came up for the first time when it was my then producer. Because when I drive down the street, if there are parked cars or cars coming at me, I have to. Such a stupid thing to admit. I've done this since I was 16, and I still do it today. If there are cars coming at me or cars parked on the side of the road, I have to click my teeth on the left and right side. The left side before the car gets to me, and the right side after it passes me. And then the parked cars, I have to do the right, left click of my teeth.
What?
So we're putting ADD and OCD as well, because I think there might be a pill for
that
both
would be
of those.
OCD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You got a lot of D's.
And I have to...
Sometimes I still say slug bug, but I don't think that's the same.
And I just thought, and I do it for telephone calls too. And I just thought, well, that's what people do
that's
when they're
normal.
driving.
Of course, everybody clicks their teeth when they go by a telephone
Sometimes
pole.
hit this ceiling. Hi.
I've been literally doing it for 40 years. I got my license 40 years ago, and I remember I did it the first month I was driving, and I've done it ever since. Does that mean I have OCD?
Well, it certainly is a pattern. I don't know if you want to change at this point. I would say if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, everything seems to be working out swimmingly.
I would say that's just weird. That's how I'd label that.
Although on the way home, you're gonna be thinking about it twice as hard now on whether or not you should be clicking your teeth.
No, it'll just be a natural course of things.
Well, then don't change it.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're in a conversation with somebody and you have to stop and click your teeth?
No, not if I'm talking to somebody.
Only if you're in your car alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody posted on Facebook, yes, kick that rock all the way to school.
Yeah. See? And look where it got me.
Well, that was an educational segment.
All contributed to me being Seattle's most beloved radio personality. And, curiously, most hated at the same time. Okay, we're going to check the news for you, and then I haven't even gotten to a bunch of audio from the State of the Union last night, and some interesting bits of compare and contrasting we're going to do coming up next.
Thanks, Ron, here for Circlewell.com. It's a matchmaking service for senior care. It's such an ingenious idea. I hope that you take advantage of it if you are sort of tasked with taking care of an elder in your life. They're still in their home, still active, but you just need a little helping hand every now and then.